always be cool.
The show where your hosts, DZ and BK, showcase your local business and real estate pros going gangbusters in leadership, community involvement, and just being cool.
Here are your hosts, serial entrepreneurs, mortgage experts at Summit Lending, and partners in crime, Darren Copeland and Bobby Kerr.
Hello and welcome back to the Freedom Accelerator Show. Today, I'm super excited about our guests. We've got Bobby and Darren in the house. Welcome, guys. What up? I'm super excited to just dive right in with the first question here, which is really, you guys are a top 1% brokerage mortgage team. I was wondering if you could tell us, what does that mean? And also, how did you get there? Because that's amazing.
So we've been doing this for a long time, getting ready to go on almost 20 years. So the top 1% is a certain level of loan originators across the country. You have to hit a certain volume amount, or you have to have at least 100 units of personal production. So that's where, we've been the top 1% for, over a decade easily. The average loan officer closes about 1 to 1.5, units per month. So it's definitely a really cool honor to have. And, but honestly, that's a lot of just coaching that we've done, a lot of the marketing that we do, and, some of the relationships that we've built.
So that's not just you personally, that's the entire team.
No, that's me personally. Yeah. The additional people are on top of that for sure.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's actually one of the things that I wanted to talk to you guys about, which is really, what are, in your opinion, 3 things that top producing loan officers are doing that, those people who are maybe closing 1 or 2 loans a month, what are they not doing that those top producing loan officers are doing? What are 3 things that you can think of?
Yeah, I'd say for one, just putting yourself out there. I know that seems so elementary, but by being visible and utilizing all the tools in the toolbox is incredibly important. So you think about any type of profession, especially within real estate, if you're not being visible, if you're not being front of mind all the time with buyers or with referral partners, then, if you're not basically bragging on yourself from a mountaintop, then no one knows what you do. So you kind of have to be your biggest cheerleader and your biggest champion in order to kind of get that ball rolling to even start with. So I'd say that's definitely the first thing, is just being visible.
Wow. Can I just stop you there for a second? So that's number 1. We'll come back. Hopefully I don't destroy your chain of thought here, but just to really put a pin in that, so many people that I talk to do not like promoting themselves. They feel awkward. They don't know what to say. They don't know what to post. They feel like they're spamming their friends and family. And there's a lot of guilt and shame or just doubt and fear around this. So how do you overcome that and really do it in the right way so that it isn't spamming people?
Well, I will say we do a lot of coaching, and we've actually been guests on national podcasts talking about this very thing for an hour at a time. So, we could go down a rabbit hole all day long because I think it's something that we've not necessarily perfected, but it's certainly something that we've focused on. But having reviews certainly helps, but being able to overcome that and request those things, I don't know. Your question was, how do you overcome it? That's an interesting question. It's, do you want to succeed or not? You have to.
So that's a great question. So I actually used to struggle with that a little bit. And when I first started to get into business, because, I was raised by, my parents were divorced at a young age, and we just didn't have a lot of money. And then, getting into the mortgage business and working hard, it was, very good. And that was awesome. And I didn't want to do video, didn't want to do a lot of self-promotion, but you actually get over it fairly quickly, because if you do it and then you don't care about what you look like, don't let all that stuff get in your head, right? I'm kind of like one of those actors where I like to do videos and I don't like to see my movies, right? I won't go back and watch them. So
same.
But the thing is, what people need to realize, it's really not about you. It's if you look at it from the perspective that you're actually helping other people. So if you have knowledge that can help other people, and if you're not sharing it, well, that's not really cool, right? So it's kind of a mindset to come from that way and be like, listen, I've got this word. I can help people save money, maybe help them avoid some mistakes on buying a home and just get that word out. Then once you see that that works, you start getting referrals and, you're making money, right? Because, that's what loan officers should be doing is closing loans and making money. You just have to get over that initial hump and have the right mindset going into it.
The right mindset being, this isn't about me promoting myself. This is about helping people and educating people.
That's exactly right.
You have something valuable, which is the knowledge and the ability to help. Let's get it out there to help as many people as possible.
Amen. I love that. Well, thanks for clarifying on that. So that was number one. What are the other two things, if you can remember, that high producing loan officers do differently than not high producing loan officers?
I think the biggest thing, and we're excellent on this, but knowing exactly what you want to get accomplished each and every day. So you have to have your goals and you have to be in complete control over your time. So one of the things that I've done for years, I have this time frame that I use. It's called green time. Okay.
Green time.
Yep. Green time. That is your money time. So the average loan officer spends about 1 hour a week doing marketing and relationship building. Okay. So I set my green time because you always want to be in charge of your day, right? You always want to be on offense. You don't want to be playing defense and opening up your emails and then you're reactive mode for the rest of the day, right? So my green time is for 2 hours in the morning, have it blocked off in my calendar. Sometimes I'll do it from home before I come into the office and start getting distracted by other things. But that's one of my non-negotiables is being in your green time. So you're making those relationships and knowing exactly, what you're doing, because if you're just working files and you're chasing W-2s and pay stubs and things like that, you're not making a lot of money, right? So you got to
Wow.
Yeah.
And so during that green time, I think that's genius. I do the same thing. I actually don't do any calls or any quote unquote work on Monday. It's completely business development driven. So I've always done that, and having a whole day for that really helps me out. What do you do during that green time?
Yeah. So I'll do some videos, do social media, phone calls, text. I have a list of realtors and even past clients that, I'll touch base with them on the regular or go in and comment on, one of their feeds or like one of their posts. But we always comment on all of their posts and private message. It's just relationship building, right? It's you're being their friend. And, one of our quotes is the loan officers who have the most friends are the ones who close the most loans.
And to clarify, that green zone doesn't necessarily have to be all business-driven activities. So for me to be successful for my day, the first 3-4 hours of every single day are quite literally scripted. Yep. So from the moment I wake up, I know exactly what I'm doing. I mean, I might be a little bit of a psychopath when it comes to it, but my outfit's laid out the night before. I know that I wake up at 5:30.
Is it really?
It is. Absolutely. Come on.
Steve,
I get up. I know I got to feed the dogs, take care of that. I do yoga from this time to this time. Then I get a run or a walk in. Then I'm showering, and then I'm doing social media. I'm meaning posting for our companies. That I'm hitting up realtors and commenting and liking, etc. Then I've got emails. So everything is scripted down, and you don't necessarily have to be that extensive with it. But that green zone is just basically your zone, your time to make sure that your day starts successfully.
Wow, I love that.
On a side note, are you okay? Because it sounds like someone's trying to break into your house.
I live in Mexico, for anyone listening who doesn't know me. And we live in an extremely, I'm talking like literally the most indigenous province or state of Mexico. And here, there is a ton of indigenous people who don't even speak Spanish. They speak their own Mayan languages. And the church, which is 300 meters away, probably 6 days a week, is launching fireworks. So it's a pain. They do it to cleanse the saints, allegedly, and they love fireworks. So especially on the weekend when you're like trying to chill and relax, that is when the most fireworks are going off. So it's amazing. We love it here. There's no one breaking into my house, but you could hear like bombs all the time.
Awesome. Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah. The question that I wanted to ask though was, how much of that is spent relationship building with people you already know versus reaching out and connecting with new real estate agents and new partners? Because I think this is another thing that people really trip over is like, well, do I focus on the people I already have, or do I grow that? Or how do you split the effort there?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So I probably would estimate it as 75% maintaining the relationships that we already have, just because I've been doing it for so long. Now, obviously, depending on where someone's at in their career, that percentage can be completely flipped. So if someone is only in the business for a couple of years, they're going to spend 90% of their business trying to make the relationships and like 10% of maintaining their database, right? So like we're kind of flipped. So we're like 75% maintaining the realtor relationships we have, industry specific relationships such as insurance, title, things like that. And then also our past database. So we get an extreme amount of business from our past database. So that's why we want to love on them. But we do have, our targets that of, realtors, maybe they were referred to us, or maybe they were on the listing side of a transaction that we were doing. Again, we always like to say, like your favorite thing, ABC, just always be cool, right? So we're just looking for people who align with the way that we like to work, their ethical values, just to make sure it's a good fit with the team, because we just want to work with people that we get along with, right?
I love that. I have this feeling, and this may not be true for everybody, but I certainly have the feeling that a lot of people are extremely fake when it comes to connecting with real estate agents. I'm only spending my time with you because I want the referral. How do you change that or flip that mindset to go, because you even said this yourself, the more friends you have, the more business you're going to get. How do you genuinely connect with people and genuinely make those friendships so that you can actually follow up with them authentically versus, oh, well, I don't even really like this person or know this person. I'm just going to send them an email because that's what I have to do.
Mm-hmm. So I don't think we actually answered your first question with the third thing. And this actually is the segue. So I think what separates, what makes people super successful in this business is actually handpicking the people you want to work with and not working with people that you have to work with, because there's nothing more frustrating or soul sucking than being fake for $1. And we choose not to do that. So when you really look at it as if I'm trying to build relationships to really form a real friendship, then the business follows. So we have lots of expressions and acronyms and things that we say to help drive us in the right direction. But Darren taught me this a long time ago, but we choose to surround ourselves with elevator people, meaning people that push or pull us upwards. So we're constantly working with people that are elevator people as opposed to basement people. And those are the people that are constantly pulling you down, or they're negative, or they don't do business the right way with integrity. So hopefully this answers two questions in one. Choosing the people that you want to partner with. Those referral partnerships are so very valuable, not just from a dollars and cents standpoint, but from a true relationship. And so that's something that we are unwavering on. If you do not fit our mold with integrity and excellence and relationships, the things that are on our wall right here behind us, then we just choose not to do business with you.
Right. And one more thing to add, as far as, coming across as authentic, we do an excellent job as a team showing these people. So we actually give them things of value, whether it's tips on how to get more reviews or marketing tips, how to help their business. So always come from a mindset of giving them something of value other than just talking about, closing on time and great rates, customer service. That should just be a given, right? So that's the bar of entry. So people who brag about that, I'm like, dude, that's bare basics. Like, that's your job. That's what you're supposed to do. Okay.
That's funny that you say that, because it's like, imagine an airline is like, oh, we're going to get you safely from A to B. Yeah, and that's the main selling point. If you don't get me safely from A to B, there's a problem.
Exactly. Exactly. So again, and meeting with them in person or however, I think we come across, and how you talk with people and you can get an idea if they're genuine or not, or if they're just trying to, get your business. I think once they get to know us, build that relationship, it happens pretty fast. And, we were just at a gathering last night with a big team of realtors where we took our staff and they brought their staff and, and had the 2 support staffs and the salespeople, everyone together. And it was an absolute ball, probably the best money that we could have spent. And that's the fun stuff that we like to do.
I love that. I love when it's real, because business is fun when it's real.
Absolutely.
That's super cool. Well, I wanted to ask this question because a lot of new loan officers entered into the system in 2020 because they lost their job or whatever it was. They decided to make a change and they switched into the mortgage industry. So let's just say that one of those people, they've come in, they're a loan officer and they're struggling to find clients. They're struggling to connect with real estate agents, and they feel like they don't have any support or any idea really of how to actually get those clients coming. Maybe in the last 6 months, they've done one, loan a month, maybe not. They're in a bit of a scarcity place. They haven't made any income. What advice would you give that person who's in that scenario?
So one of the best things I ever did in my career was to get into coaching and to invest in yourself, right? So they need to get a coach. And, we coach our loan officers that we have here, but you have to invest in getting coaching to improve yourself, to actually have a game plan. Because if you don't have a game plan together, you're going to be completely lost, right? You're going to have no idea what to do. So one of the value adds, not that we just try to recruit every single person over here, but one of the value adds that we do here is we hold everyone accountable, support staff as well, with goals and being clear on their roles and going down that path. So if someone is if they're new in the business and if they're going to stay at their existing company or whatever their plans are, they really need to look into getting into a coaching platform that is purely about coaching. It's not coaching, it's not recruiting masked by coaching, right? Mm-hmm. But getting into some type of program so they can have a game plan moving forward. And because really, if not, you're not going to be in this business very long. And I use this adage all the time. So we're big football fans here in Kansas City, and Patrick Mahomes is our quarterback, right? But even a Pro Bowler, future hopefully Hall of Famer quarterback, he's got a quarterback's coach, right? So all these pro athletes that are just amazing, everybody needs a coach, no matter where they're at in life. I mean, Tony Robbins has a coach. So that is the best thing that I ever did. That's the biggest piece of advice that I would give to anyone, even if they're, whether they might be struggling a little bit right now, or even if they're killing it, definitely we can always get better.
Yep. And I would add to that, if someone says, okay, well, I'm just getting started, I can't afford coaching, and it's a, okay excuse, have yourself a mentor at least. Have someone to help pull you or push you. Right. Again, like elevator, that's an elevator person, right? Someone who's going to drive you to do bigger and better things and be a good person while doing it. So just to piggyback on that, the other thing that I would add is that you mentioned the time, right? People getting into the business or having difficulties finding clients or referral partners. Because of what the world has gone through over the last 2 years, people are starved for quality relationships. Starved. Right? So it's not hard, it's not difficult right now to set yourself apart from the rest of the pack. That's true. So if you just genuinely care and you show up and you do a great job, again, bar of entry, right? We all know what the bar of entry is. Do a good job, be ethical, right? But if you can then just put yourself out there, people are starved for human connection. So if you offer a legitimate, genuine connection, you're automatically setting yourself apart from the rest of the pack.
Wow, I love that. That was my next question. Like, what if you have no money to invest in a coaching program? And I think that mentorship is a huge step to do that. Let's just say, like, theoretically, just to kind of put pressure on you guys here, but what if you have no one in your life with you physically that can be a good mentor, or that can offer you a genuine connection? Can you recommend, how would you find a mentor in that case, or what communities or coaching could you recommend in that case?
First of all, I would just tell them to go find one, right? just
find the person you resonate with. Yeah.
Because the thing is like, at the end of the day, man, we are all responsible for where we're at in our careers, right? And the thing is we all need help, but we also have to be careful not to make excuses. So when I hired my first coach, man, I didn't have the money. I didn't. I put it on a credit card for like the first 90 days, but I started generating so many deals and revenue that it eventually became free because, I was doing so much business that, the business that I was doing was helping pay for my coaching, right? So you have to have confidence in yourself to go out there, and just really, really just knock it out of the park. There's a couple gurus in the business that have some really good systems, Dave Savage and Barry Habib, a couple
I
of
love him. Yeah.
guys in the mortgage space. And there's some coaching with next level loan officers. There's coaching with Cindy Ertman, who's a really good friend of mine, also helped coach some of her students. But those are some of the ones that I would highly recommend. Just really, really good platforms, good people. And also in these coaching platforms, it's not so much the particular coach, it's like the community that you start building around, because now you start making friends like that are all over the country. I just had one of my good buddies, Ray, texting me this morning from Texas and talking about a certain strategy that he's doing. And he sent all the info to me because everyone just is givers, right? You get into these platforms, they're great people. Everyone has the mindset of abundance and they just want to share, right? We're not competing against each other, right? So that's the thing, is getting to coaching and being in that right, community. I always like to say, find your tribe.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Find your people.
I got a couple things. So Darren, you said, I forget the verbiage, but basically if you're a loan officer, you're an entrepreneur, right? It doesn't matter if you work for a bank or you work for a credit union or a broker, you're running your own business, your own book of business. And it doesn't matter the industry. If you're an entrepreneur, you have to invest in yourself. So whether it's investing with money, right? That's one thing, investing in coaching with money, or just investing time and extensive research on how to be successful by reading, learning from others who have done it before you and better than you. Serial entrepreneurs is what we are. We focus on mortgages, but there has never been a business that we started where we didn't spend at least 6 months learning about it, learning the ins and outs, and figuring out the quickest or the path of least resistance to doing it the right way and out hustling everybody. There's no shortcut to success. There's no way to avoid the investment, whether it's money or time. So if you want to be successful, you have to invest in yourself. Again, time, money, both. You're going to have to do it.
Be coachable.
And be coachable.
You got to be coachable.
Yeah.
Right. And the thing is,
like,
if someone's at a place, and I'm not trying to get people to jump their mortgage company or any of that, but if they're at a place where there's no mentors available, that's kind of a problem.
Yeah.
Right. They need to find someone that they can get mentorship, because really it'd be great to have both, is to have mentorship and to get into it.
Here's an idea for you, Raina. There are a ton of free groups, networking groups, social media groups of loan officers, right?
Yep.
Join those groups and just have conversations, ask questions, take other people that are in your market, go have lunch. They're your quote unquote competitor, right? But the pie is big enough for everybody. So there's no reason to have any kind of animosity towards other people in your industry. Right. Everyone's a resource for one another. There is your, essentially free coaching by learning from your peers. And if they're not willing to share trade secrets or, best practices, then they're not someone you want in your circle anyway. But you're going to find out pretty quickly whether or not they're a good person. So there you go.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I've certainly connected with people who do the same thing to the same niche that I do. And we have so much abundance, right? We can work with people anywhere in the world. We're not competing in a certain market or even a certain country, because what we do can really happen anywhere in the world. And I think when you have that abundance mindset, it's like, hey, what are you doing? What's working? What's not working? And you can really learn a lot from other people's practices. Even if they do the same thing, there's a million ways to do the same thing. So that's the beauty of abundance for sure.
Absolutely.
So, one of the things we've obviously talked about coaching. What's another thing that you have invested in that's really taken your business to the next level?
Another thing, what's another thing that we've invested in? Are you talking like monetarily or time?
Just
Thoughts?
I think we could talk about
Would it be events that we go to?
events, recruiting, focusing on specific aspects of the business that have helped grow the business.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
I think, we've spent a lot of time on social media and also videos. One thing that has helped us, we're coming out of a 2-year period where loans were literally falling out of the sky, right? It was everyone's refinancing, it's super easy, and now we have to try again, right? So it's back to your roots of marketing and actually having a plan in place. So the one thing that we also do is once a week, usually on Fridays or Saturday mornings, we'll send out a video through BombBomb. Again, it's not always about mortgages. It can be about highlighting a restaurant or highlighting a success story or anything like that. But doing one video to our past clients, and then also doing one to our referral partners, our realtors and people of that nature. So again, just investing that time and having it on your calendar, because it's not how good your marketing is, it's how consistent it is. Right. So as long as you're consistent.
Why is that important?
Right.
Why is that more important than quality?
Well, it still has to be halfway good, but like, let's say if someone goes to the majors and puts together this huge production piece on a video and spends a lot of money on videos, and they only do it once a month or once a quarter, well, you're only going to catch people at certain glimpses of their day, right? They might be having a super busy day and they're deleting your email and really not paying attention. So by doing it more consistent, you're not going to hit everyone once a week, but you're going to have a better chance of hitting them 4 times a month by being consistent.
It'd be like if you did a podcast once every 6 months. If it was the best podcast in the world, awesome. But then you're going to lose all of your followers because they're not getting content from you. So that's kind of the reference to the consistency versus just quality.
Right. Because a lot of people will hesitate thinking that it has to be perfect on the quality, like if they mess up a word or if they're having a bad hair day or something like that. The people watching the video, they don't care. They actually enjoy when people kind of mess up or they have a blooper or something like that, because it just makes them more human, right? It humanizes the experience.
Yeah. Another thing I would focus on that we've particularly focused on, but what any new loan officer, so anybody that's newer to the business, or even if they're not, maybe it's just something they haven't focused on, but we're huge on what we call social proof. And that's the rest of the world, the rest of the world carrying the torch for you, telling their friends and family through social media, through reviews of how great you are, right? So one thing that a new loan officer should focus on is creating a Google business profile,
right,
and ensuring that each and every closing is leaving a Google review. Make sure that every referral partner that you work with is leaving you a review. Most people don't focus on the referral partner aspect, but a good portion of our reviews are our referral partners. So how great
genius
experience to share. Like, oh my gosh, those realtors love working with Darren.
Right.
Those realtors love working with Bobby. I'm a realtor, so I'm going to follow their advice. I'm going to go work with Summit Lending. So I think just focusing on that from the get-go would propel people new to the business far and above beyond, because we all know loan officers that have been in this business for 20 years that have 0 reviews. So it's kind
I'm working with one of those guys, and that was the first thing that I told him. Where are your reviews? Oh, do I really need those? Yeah. It's like this. It's like being humble. It's back to this thing, right? You're being humble. You're timid. You don't want to spam people. You don't want to brag about yourself, and it's disguised as humble, right? I'm being humble, but it's not. It's actually hurting you.
Yeah. Well, and also this is a great topic, and we love chatting about this, because when someone refers us out or someone gets referred to a loan officer, that client's going to stalk you. Okay, they're going to see if they can find you on Facebook. So make sure your Facebook is squared away. LinkedIn, like they're going to check you out, right? So they're going to check your social media and they're going to check your reviews, and that's the thing. People want to have that social proof that, hey, I'm buying this house, biggest purchase of my life, most likely, and I don't want anything to go wrong. So if you see our success stories and, all the wins that we have with clients, sprinkled in on our social media. And then you go to our reviews and we have, 4 or 5 times the amount of reviews than our closest competitor. That's just sold us, right?
Yep.
Right.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
If someone is out there struggling, or heck, we've come across people that are really, really successful and either don't have any reviews or they have like 5 reviews, that they really have to focus on that to get that up, because it's just key with anything, just like restaurants, hotels, anytime someone is traveling. And another thing that I want to add on this for the other loan officers that might be listening on this is Google it's the king. Like, that's where everything's at right now, because a lot of the other companies out there, they'll have their in-house platform of reviews, or they'll have a third-party company that will have, the reviews. But, the problem is with that is if you use your company's platform or anything else other than Google, you don't own your review.
Can't bring it with you. Yes.
Can't bring it with you, right? So you've got to have it out there. So no matter where you're at in your career, those reviews are your reviews, and you don't have 200 reviews at some company and then they get bought out or something, happens and you have to go somewhere else. Now you're starting from ground zero.
Wow, that's such good advice. One of the things that I noticed that I'm curious to hear what you guys think about this. There are reviews that are 5-star reviews, but when you actually look at the review, it says, I worked with so-and-so and they did a great job. I'd highly recommend them. And that's so vague, right? Versus a review that says, before I worked with so-and-so, I had no idea. I was so afraid. And this person, solved all my problems, saved me this much money, blah, blah, blah. And they're specific about the details. How important is that when you're getting a review to get that specific, detailed review that's going to really break through? Because from my perspective, there's a huge difference between I worked with Raina and she was great versus, because of Raina, I made $20,000. I have 10 referral partners and my life has completely changed.
So I think it's kind of like the expression, the best CRM in the world is the one you actually use. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to differ with you a little bit, Raina, in that, because we're talking
any
about
review is better than no review.
Any review is better than no review. So if you're capturing anything from a past client or a current client or a referral partner, then you're doing something really, really well.
Right.
If you can then get the story of the 5-star experience, then it's icing on the cake, right? So we love long reviews. And the other thing we want to add for anybody that's starting to focus on this, replying to each review is incredibly important in real time. So make sure that your notifications are set up to where somebody on your team, if it's not you, is being able to reply to that person's review within 24 hours. Because think of yourself, we always put ourselves in the consumer's shoes. So if I'm a consumer and I'm looking for a restaurant or a mortgage lender or whatever it is, or a hotel, I'm looking at the reviews, and are the reviews recent and are people replying to them? Because that shows me that someone's actually giving a damn about the client's experience. So it's just some tips and tricks that we focus on every single day. Mm-hmm. And you're more likely to get that story if in the very beginning you set the expectation that the client is going to have a 5-star review.
Right.
So if you use that verbiage with them, hey, Raina, this is Bobby at Summit Lending. I just want you to know, here's the process. Here's who you're going to work with. And we want to make sure that we're taking care of you so that you have a 5-star experience from the very beginning. And if you don't feel like you're getting it, let us know so that we can always improve. And so when you use that verbiage, you're coaching them along the way that, hey, we're going to kick ass. Mm-hmm. And by the end of it, when you do request that review, it's not bragging on yourself. You're not being,
it's not a surprise.
Braggadocious. Yeah, it's not a surprise. It's, hey, this was the expectation that we set. And they're happy to do it. They're happy to tell the story. So long-winded answer, any review is better than no review, but a story is absolutely.
Love that.
Yeah, exactly. Planting the seeds, like Bobby was saying, planted the seeds throughout the process. And we find that, if we can get them to leave the review like within 24 or 48 hours while they're still happy and ecstatic about the house, that's the absolute best. Now, we do have a system that follows up with them because, people are moving, they've got a lot on their plate, switching schools or whatever. They just have a lot going on in life. But it's funny. So right before this, we had a client come in, and he was so grateful and thankful for, our staff and everyone. Like, everyone loved him. He had kind of a curveball that was thrown at him. Wasn't his fault. Something didn't come through on the people that was buying his house. So we had to do a few gyrations so he wouldn't lose his new house. And he didn't, because everyone here is rock stars, and we made it happen. But, he is going to be leaving a huge review. So we took his picture out front, with the Summit Lending sign and all that. So
Nice.
that'll be coming out. That'll be coming out on social media, because I'll probably post that in the morning and tag a bunch of people and get people on Saturday morning with, I find that sharing stories like that and doing it like on a Saturday morning instead of during like the middle of the work week or something like that, it'll get some more reviews. It'll get a little bit more exposure. So that's the fun part of the business.
What if you are in a place where you have one client a month, two clients a month, so you only have 2 reviews a month? What are you posting the rest of the time? Or what's a way to really utilize social media to capture new clients when you're not necessarily having success stories right now?
Right. So you probably don't want to like post about the lack of business that you're having. that might not be good, right? And the thing is, we laugh, but I mean, I do see loan officers be like, hey, I've only got 1 deal this month. I need like 4 more. And like, begging is not a real flattering form of, trying to get business. It makes you look desperate, and it's just not cool. But I would say, always come from the angle of giving. So find out something that you can help agents with their business. You have to take that next step. Heck, go out there on, if you want to interview a few local restaurant owners, highlight a few places to go, like go out there and help some other people with their business and get some momentum. Because if you're only closing 1 deal a month, the simple fact is you're just not talking to enough people, right? You're not helping enough people. So figure out a way that you can give back, highlight them. My family has a Latin American restaurant here in Kansas City. We post things about them, or we'll do giveaways for gift cards, fun stuff. This would be a really good idea for maybe some LOs that might be in a tough spot right now, but, do some contests, do some giveaways, ask who's, going to win the big basketball game or football game or whatever is going on in the current environment, but, have some fun with it. Right.
Yeah. And you can read all about what a quality social media post is or what a quality profile looks like. One thing that we see a lot is loan officers or even realtors only posting business on their business page and only posting personal on their personal page. And by having a good mixture of both on each profile goes a long way. So on my personal profile and Darren's personal profiles, we only posted business stuff. First of all, people would be sick, right?
Right.
If we only posted,
Yeah.
if we only posted business stuff, they'd be annoyed. If we only posted personal stuff, then they wouldn't know we do what we do. So finding that nice mixture, we think it's about 60-40, 60% personal, 40% business. Then you're still getting that repetition of, hey, this is what we do. This is why we do it. This is why we're great. Oh, and by the way, I'm a musician. By the way, I like to travel. By the way, we go to Royals games, so people then can relate to you, but then also say, oh, yeah, Darren and Bobby, they do mortgages because they've seen it so many times over the course of months or years, or whatever, on your social profile. So the consistency, back to what DC said a while ago, is incredibly important. Just be there, be visible. That's back to the very first thing we said too, right?
Yeah, no, I love it. I think that's so valuable. The idea of the giveaways, like promoting other people, being yourself, being out there, like all of this is so valuable. And I really think that's fantastic. This has been absolutely golden. Is there anything else that you guys really want to talk about that I should have asked you about today?
This has actually been really cool. We really appreciate you having us on. This taps our passion. just dropping some things that we've learned over the years and learning from mistakes that we've made, and, anything we can do. Again, it's just ABC, right? Always be cool. So again, if there's anything that we can drop that might give someone an idea or change their life or help them to get into coaching and get them from closing maybe 1 or 2 units to closing 5 or 6 units, that's game changing. And that's what we do.
Yeah. Yeah. Raina, can we, we really do like talking with people across the industry in other states, in our market. It doesn't matter, just to help out. Is there any way that you could share on how to get a hold of us if somebody wants to ask questions, especially when it comes to like the social proof aspect of things of building their business?
I genuinely think that anyone who's listening to this should connect with Bobby and Darren on Facebook, on LinkedIn, anywhere that you guys have profiles. We'll link everything down below. So if anyone's interested, you can reach out to Bobby and Darren immediately. I'd love for you guys to kind of talk about maybe an opportunity if someone is looking for an amazing team to be a part of, if they're really looking to have the support, have the systems, could you guys talk a little bit about the opportunity that maybe they would have to work with you directly?
Sure. Absolutely. You want to start?
Yeah. The thing is, and I appreciate that, if someone is struggling or has questions, I really, instead of selling us, I think it's more of a conversation of like what they personally have going on and like where they're located at, in terms of in the United States, and, what their real goal is. Because the thing is, when it comes to loan officers, there's no blanket perfect spot for everyone, because some loan officers might specialize in portfolio loans, or some of them might specialize in non-warrantable condos, and they need to be in every state. So they need to be in a banking situation. So I think for us, it's just more of coming from a cool situation of finding out exactly what they have going on in their life. Because the thing is, the quick thing, and I do appreciate you, talking about Summit, is, at Summit Lending, we have all the tools, the coaching and everything. We have that already implemented, but that's been a process of years to put in place, right? We do have the plug and play process of, hey, this is exactly what you need to do. This is your social media, your videos, how many people you need to talk to, and help them with their goals. So, we definitely have all of that. But I think at the end of the day, it just comes down to the individual loan officer and what they have going on, what they want to accomplish, and what they really specialize in.
It's definitely not a one-size-fits-all approach.
Right.
So we like to learn about the person on an individual basis to make sure that we set up all stakeholders, on the right path.
Exactly.
I love that. I'm totally the same way. I just had a call the other day where, I said, I don't think this will be a good fit for you just based on what I've heard in the conversation. And I felt comfortable doing that because I know what it is that I offer and who it is that I can really help. And I think you guys are really good people. And I'd love to shine this light on you and just say, what you see is what you get with Bobby and Darren. These guys are really just genuinely trying to help people and really make everything a win-win. And I think that's what really sets you guys apart and makes you so successful. And what you've shared with us, you guys are top 1% in the United States. That is a huge accomplishment that should not be understated here. These guys are extremely successful, and what they've said is extremely simple. And they're just really taking the action, being consistent and doing it. And that's what makes them top producers. So I really appreciate you guys being on the show. I'll leave everything to get in touch with them in the description below, and we'll see you guys on the next episode.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Raina.
Cheers.
If you are hearing this message, you've listened to the entire episode. And for that, Darren and Bobby thank you from the bottom of their hearts.
They hope you enjoyed this new episode. And if you did, please leave them a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever else you're listening. Please share this episode with others who may be interested in our community.
Also, feel free to let DC and BK know which business or community leaders you'd like to see covered in future episodes. Get in touch in the comments or on social media. See you next time for a new episode. And remember, always be cool.
This podcast is powered by Summit Lending, NMLS number 1850081, Equal Housing Lender.